Hey guys, it's Eric here and this is the Huawei Y7p unboxing and review. When you open the box, you're greeted with the device wrapped in plastic. Let's take out the sticker on the front and on the back. This is the Aurora Blue color. It also comes in midnight black. We can see that there's already a screen protector applied here. We have an envelope that houses the SIM ejection tool, a user guide. While the supported bands aren't shown here, it does support Glo 4G band 28. We have a clear TPU case. Let's see how well it fits. I like how this case feels. It hides the tiny camera bump too. On the bottom compartment, we have a standard 10 watts charger, a micro USB cable, and a pair of earphones. On the front, we have a 6.39-inch HD Plus IPS LCD display with 19.5 by 9 aspect ratio. On the top left corner, you have a punch hole that houses an 8 megapixel selfie camera. On the back, you have a 48 megapixel triple camera setup with flash, a fingerprint sensor, and some Huawei branding. On the left, you have a 3-in-1 tray that houses two 4G LTE nano SIMs and an SD card. On the right, you have a volume rocker and power button. On the top, you have a microphone. On the bottom, you have a speaker, a micro USB port, a second microphone, and a 3.5mm headphone jack. The Huawei Y7p's back design aesthetic is all in its gradient color. It seems as though the borders around the back are raised, but actually it's pretty flat. This is the closest I've ever seen of plastic looking like glass. Absolutely stunning. It's neither heavy nor light. Fingerprint magnet, yes. As for the display, Huawei calls it a delicate punch full view display. It's pretty bright outdoors and the colors pop, but it's only a 720p display, and comparing it to the bigger and better 1080p display of the Y9s, we can see just how bright and saturated the same image looks on the Y7p. The Y7p comes in 64 gigs of storage and 4 gigs of RAM. You get about 52 gigs of available storage. We're running on Android 9 with Emotion UI version 9.1.1 slapped on top of it. This interface looks very identical to the Y9s's and you get all of the same quick settings. Navigation options that we're used to seeing, one with full swipe gestures. Some of you will need a second to get used to this, but we're pros here, aren't we? There's also an option to hide the notch for people without joy in their lives. As you probably know by now, the Y7p uses Huawei Mobile Services and Huawei App Gallery as your only pre-installed app store. I talked about it in my previous video. I'll be leaving a link to it up above and in the description. I'll be showing you how I got all my apps on this phone and more in a separate video so we can always reference it in the future. The Huawei Y7p uses the high silicon Kirin 710F octa-core CPU clocked at 2.2 GHz, and it's the same one on the Y9s. It is one of Huawei's older tested and trusted mid-range chipsets, and to be fair, this isn't anywhere near a high-end device judging by the rest of the specs, so I have no issues with this CPU whatsoever. It runs social media and messaging apps smoothly and keeps this up even with a fair bit of multitasking. The fingerprint sensor isn't the fastest, but it is super accurate and it unlocks with just a tap. The less secure face unlock takes about a second to unlock and takes a little longer to unlock in pitch darkness, which is alright. Here's how the speaker compares side by side the Y9s's. When it comes to gaming, as usual, I played PUBG on HD graphics and high frame rates. That's the max settings we can get on here. We don't get lags or frame drops. However, enemies are getting a jump on me, which is to be expected when you're gaming on a phone in this class. The Huawei Y7p is powered by a 4000 mAh battery, and I put it through my usual battery test. I got into some prolonged PUBG session and social media activities all on Wi-Fi. At the end of my full day, this gave me 11 plus hours of screen on time with 14% left to spare. This one again falls under the battery based category, and it should get you through a full day or 2 days of use if you're a light user. It took me 2 hours and 5 minutes to charge from 0 to 100%, which is pretty fast considering it does not support fast charging. The camera of the Y7p is pretty feature rich. We get slow-mo and night mode. By default, it shoots in 12 megapixel and you have the option to change to 48 megapixel. I like the fact that it remembers your settings, unlike all the others that require you to do this every time you open the camera app. Dynamic range is looking just about average. Ultra wide angle lens really keeps the fisheye effect to a minimum. The selfie camera produces well-saturated photos outdoors, which makes up for the softness. Portrait mode for the selfie camera has a pretty good sense of depth. Comparing the 12 megapixel with 48 megapixel, you can barely tell like this, but when you crop in, you can see that there's a clear difference. I love the skin tones from the 48 megapixel primary camera. It looks very contrasty. Comparing it with the Y9s, the warmer tones probably look more appealing to most. However, when you take a closer look, it's not quite as detailed as the Y9s's shot. Portrait mode shows an okay sense of depth, but it is an 8 megapixel photo, so it doesn't quite look as sharp as the normal primary camera shot. Indoors, the selfie camera keeps the same energy, really good in low light, but we see the mid-rangeness of that primary camera because if the lighting isn't right, colors tend to look washed out. There is no front-facing flash on here, and with screen flash, you're going to look like this in pitch darkness, especially if you're black. Night mode works its magic. I kind of wasn't expecting it to be this good. It records videos in 1080p for the front and back camera. So I'm currently filming with the front-facing camera of the Huawei Y7p, and here's what the audio sounds like. The Huawei Y7p is like the younger sibling of the Y9s that made a few sacrifices to allow for a phone with the same CPU to have a price that's hard to ignore. It checks many boxes and has only a few shortcomings like the micro USB and 720p display. The Y7p is priced at 69,900 Naira, which converts to $160 and the pre-order ends on the 1st of June. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it. Also follow me on Twitter and Instagram to see what I'm up to. Do subscribe for more videos like this as it will mean a lot to me, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.